Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Micah Let's Play, and guess who I am? I'm Micah, cause who else would I be? Guys, today on my gamer discussion video, I'm gonna do a theory video for Dragon Age. Now, a lot of you might be saying, hey Micah, where's your Let's Plays at? Well, since I'm still waiting on my camera to get repaired, and I'm waiting for my new one to arrive from Amazon, I decided, well, since I got a little time on my hands, might as well do a theory video, right? So, with all that said, guys, you know how I get down. I've made an intro specifically for you. Enjoy!
Now loading Micah's Let's Play.
Okay, guys, so on today's gamer discussion video, we're going to be talking about magic, and more specifically, blood magic, in the world of Thetis, also known as Dragon Age. Now, there are a lot of people who may be new to Dragon Age, so what I'm going to do first is that I'm going to cover the laws of magic, I'm going to also cover the full schools of magic, then I'm going to break down the four sources of magic, and then from there, I'm going to dive into blood magic itself, and then also I have a theory for you guys about blood magic that I think may come up in the next Dragon Age game. So, if you're ready, let's break down the sources of magic. The four sources of magic are as such: the Fade, Lyrium, Blood, and Blight. Now, you might be saying, well, one of these things is not like the other. Well, actually, you're right, but all four of these elements work in conjunction together to allow people within the Dragon Age universe to be able to manipulate the world around them and create magic. Now, most of you might be saying, well, what is the Fade? Now, from what I understand in the Dragon Age universe, the Fade is a plane where people go to dream, and it's also a place where spirits wander and roam. It's also believed that when people pass away, they go into the Fade or somewhere in the Fade where spirits go in the Dragon Age universe. It's never been fully clarified where the spirits actually go outside of the Fade. So in this arena of magic, mages are able to tap into this plane of existence and draw energy from it, and are able to channel different things such as elements, casting spells, doing all sorts of things with this ability of magic. So that's the first source of magic. The second is Lyrium. Now, Lyrium is a substance within the Dragon Age universe that has multiple properties. It can be used to enhance someone's abilities as a mage if ingested. Templar Knights actually use it to help them create abilities, so that way they can stop mages, but we'll touch on that later. Lyrium is also used for certain metals. It's used in quite a few things in the Dragon Age universe, but what it's more commonly known for is to be ingested by those who are mages, again, to strengthen their magical capabilities or help boost their reserves. Also, Lyrium is also been called the blood of the earth and also known as the blood of titans. So you can even consider this a form of blood magic. Which brings us into the next category, which is blood magic. And blood magic is exactly as what it's called. People use their own blood, their own life essence to create magic. And this is considered the most taboo or the most frowned upon forms of magic because of how the world views it. And then the last and final source of magic is called blight magic. And this is known to be the most dangerous form of magic known out there, meaning that it manipulates the blight. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with that term, the blight is basically a disease or a virus that spreads from living being to living being, meaning that it spreads from humans, animals, and plant life, and blood. And blood is life force, which is why when we get into the topic of red lyrium, which is basically lyrium that has the blight inside of it, and red lyrium is said to be extremely dangerous, this is why blood magic and lyrium are so crucial to today's video topic. So now that you understand the 4 sources of magic, let's move into the 4 schools of magic, and we'll move on from there. The 4 schools of magic are as such. The 4 schools of magic are basically broken into 2 different categories. There's matter, and then there's energy. So as we go over this, I'm going to break down which ones fall under matter and energy, and what they're more commonly used for. And there are a series of codex entries from First Enchanter Josephus that breaks down all 4 different schools of magic. The first, which is entropy. And entropy is known as like death magic, decay, type of magic, the end of something, or the destruction of something. And this is classed under the matter category within the 4 schools of magic. The second being creation magic. This is also under the branch of matter. Creation magic is the beginning of something, and is also known as the hardest to master, and is rarely mastered within the Dragon Age universe. But those who are able to master it are in high demand in times of peace and war. Also, why this tree of magic is so important and why so many people are in high demand of it is because healing magic comes from this school of magic as well. The next category is spirit magic. This is where you're able to manipulate spirits or the unseen forces within this skill tree. And this is known under the energy class of the 4 schools of magic. And unfortunately, sometimes this school of magic is often confused with blood magic. And then the 4th school of magic, which is primal, also under the energy class of magic. And in primal magic, this is where you're able to manipulate the elements of fire, lightning, earth, ice, etc. And this is actually one of my personal favorite forms of magic manipulation within the Dragon Age universe. Now that you have a better understanding of the 4 schools of magic and how magic is sourced from the 4 different sources, let's jump into the laws of magic so you can understand that there are checks and balances within the DA universe. There are 3 common laws of magic, and these 3 laws are as followed. No entering the Fade physically, no teleporting, and no resurrecting the dead or bringing the dead back to life. Now, most of you who have played the Dragon Age game or are very familiar with this universe would say, wait a minute, I've seen them do all 3. I've seen all 3 rules be broken. So have I. But let me clarify some things for you. Entering the Fade physically is not something that is easily done or commonly done. And the only 2 times it's ever been done is with Corypheus when he did the blood sacrifices to enter the Fade and basically bring about the blight, and the second time is with your Inquisitor in Dragon Age 3. Those are the only 2 times ever documented in the Dragon Age history where this has actually been done. So again, it may be an exception to the rule, but as you can see, they still follow the rule of no entering the Fade physically. The second is teleporting. Now, in the Dragon Age universe, people's like, well, wait a minute, what about Fade Step? Basically, Fade Step is essentially super speed. And it looks really cool when done in game, but technically, it just looks like they're teleporting, but they're not. They're really just hauling ass from one end of the screen to the other. So it's actually pretty cool. So, again, there has been no evidence that someone has teleported. And when it comes to Alluvian mirrors, as I said in my other Dragon Age video, Alluvian mirrors are not necessarily teleporting. It is basically allowing you to enter from one space to the next. Essentially, it's a magical wormhole, is my best way to explain it. So, again, they've never actually broken the rule. It's just it's their way of, I like to say, working around the rule or bending the rules slightly without fully breaking them. And the last is resurrecting the dead. Now, when I mean by resurrecting the dead, I mean someone has died and literally been brought back to life as if nothing ever happened to them. Now, there is such things as necromancy, and that's dealing more with the more telepathy magic. But when I say, again, resurrecting the dead, I mean someone who just got stabbed in the chest and someone was able to bring them back to life as if they never died. Now, there is some examples I can use, which is mythal. Now, it is stated in the Dragon Age universe that a spirit that hasn't fully left this plane of existence can go, it can be spared or can stick on this side of the plane of existence, of this side of the veil, before it enters the Fade and can go into another body. The only character I've ever seen do this is Mythal. Now, Mythal, for those of you who don't know, is an elven deity. She is an elven goddess. And the only person she's ever done this with is Flemeth. Now, for those of you who don't know who Flemeth is one of the witches of the Kakari Wilds, and she is the mother to Morrigan, who is one of my absolute favorite characters in the franchise. Now, how these two women met is that Flemeth was in a very bad situation, and the spirit of Mythal went to her and offered her, hey, if you bind with me, we can help each other out. And basically, that's what they agreed to do. And for years and decades, Mythal and Flemeth have worked together to stay together as host and spirit, if that makes any sense to anybody. But if you guys want me to go further into this, just let me know in the comment sections and I'll happily go over this in more detail. So those are the 3 laws of magic, and again, the Dragon Age universe holds true to these laws of magic. So now, let's jump into some more different areas of magic, such as Titans, Lyrium, blood magic, and then we'll get into my theory. Okay guys, let's talk about Titans. Now, for those of you who don't know, Titans are also called world shapers. They are these giant beings that are able to shape the world at large. And Lyrium is known as the blood of the earth, also known as Titan's blood. Now, for those of you who, again, may not be that well aware, but Lyrium, as I stated earlier in this video, is used for enhancing one's abilities, rune crafting, creating metals, so on and so forth. So Lyrium has quite a few properties, and also it's stated that Lyrium in its very raw natural form is extremely dangerous, and the only beings or people that are actually able to mine Lyrium out of the dwarven mines are dwarves and tranquil mages. And tranquil mages are basically men and women who have been cut off from the Fade and essentially left in a emotionless state, and they're not able to channel magic or feel magic anymore. So again, there's a lot going on with Lyrium. Now let's talk a little bit about blood magic. Now, to the general population, blood magic is a massive no-no. It's frowned on from every corner of Thedas, even in Tevinter, though they practice it in secret. And we'll touch more on that later. But again, blood magic is more commonly known for, when people are using it, blood magic is known for summoning demons, conjuring people's mind, manipulation, and a lot more darker crafts or more darker abilities. But it's also been shown that blood magic can be used for quite good. Blood magic can be used for healing and for even growing crops. So again, blood magic has pros and cons, though more people would look at the cons versus the pros. And then also the dangers of using blood magic, as I stated before, also allows mages to be susceptible to demon possession. Because once a mage taps into the veil, they are hearing whispers on the edge of their mind, but they can largely ignore them as they are channeling the Fade. Once they open a vein or open someone else's vein, they're able to hear the demons on the other side whispering very clearly to them of how they could help them. And if they bind themselves with the demon, they could actually be more powerful. Here's the caveat, and here's the massive downfall. Those mages who have binded themselves to demons actually eventually become abominations. And the only way to get rid of an abomination is to slay the person with the demon spirit trapped within them. And the only time I've ever seen a person be exorcised in the Dragon Age universe was in Dragon Age Origins, where there was a young boy who accidentally summoned a demon and was able to create all manner of chaos, and that was the only person I've ever seen be exorcised in the Dragon Age universe. And if there is others who have been exorcised, can you guys let me know in the comment section down below? Because to my knowledge, that is the only person that I've ever seen that happen to. Now, the other problem with blood magic is that when you have someone who's using blood magic for general good, sometimes the mage uses their own body as a source of blood magic. But then the problem with that is that usually with blood magic, when you need stronger spells, you need more blood. Now, in some cases with blood mages, there are people who are willing to give their blood, also known as bleeders in the Dragon Age universe. But again, I'm going to refer to Dorian on this. You're going to always need more, which eventually leads to blood sacrifices. And usually, this is with unwilling participants. So now, this is why I'm going back to the thing of Titans. Titans, again, are world shapers. Now, if you play Dragon Age Inquisition, there's a character that's a spirit by the name of Cole says this very line.
They made bodies from the earth, and the earth was afraid. It fought back, but they made it forget.
So the question is, who made the earth forget? Who was the they? I believe this may be elves who manipulated the Titans or slayed a Titan so they can have access to the Titan's blood. Trust me, elves are not as cut and dry as most people would believe. Now, going back to Titans, now if Titan's blood is what helps boost magic, wouldn't that be saying that everyone is openly using blood magic within the Dragon Age universe? When I touch on my theory, we'll dive further into this. But again, this is what the dangers of using blood magic does in the Dragon Age universe. The other thing about Titans, which is extremely fascinating, is they say that Lyrium has a song or sings, and most dwarven men and women who not worship the stone, because the dwarves in the Dragon Age universe, they don't worship anything or any types of deity, but they honor the stone, and they honor their fallen ancestors. And it is said, if you played the Descent DLC in Dragon Age Inquisition, Volta basically becomes one with the Titan and says, oh, the Titan was calm because it was near one of its children. Which begs the question, are Titans sentient? Do they understand? Are they conscious and aware? Again, going back to blood magic, if blood magic is so frowned upon because it's usually done with unwilling participants, wouldn't that beg the question that Titans are unwilling participants who are constantly being mined for their very life essence? Again, makes you think, right? And the most interesting version of this is this section of Dagna's conversation when she's talking to the Inquisitor about being connected with, I guess, a Titan when she stared into a room. Just listen.
I got a scraping that was cleaned off you, and it's weird. And the other rift bits, they're weird. It's just weird. I said weird, right?
Answers, Dagna?
Lyrium and the Fade linked, but dwarves and Tranquil not linked. But they work Lyrium, so they are, somehow. And there's something there. I was face deep in a rune, and for a moment, I was tall. Really tall. And I thought all the thoughts.
felt taller. How much taller?
Like mountain tall. Or I was the mountain. But I was moving. I felt dizzy. You know what I remembered? Watching a shaper it carve the wall of memory, except big. Isn't that weird? Maybe there were fumes.
What do you mean when you say, thought all the thoughts?
I don't know. As if for a moment I was around all my people, and my thought was all of theirs.
Your thoughts were their thoughts?
No, my thought was all of our thoughts, like parts. Words are mush. Maybe that's what the stone feels like. Or we think it feels like. If we think it feels. Creepy.
In the words of Dagna, creepy, right? So now that we touched a little bit on Titans and a little bit on blood magic, let's jump into the final section of this video, which is my theory. It's theory time. So now, in the Dragon Age universe, mages are controlled through the Chantry, and the Chantry is this world's version of the Christian Church. Also, the mages are policed by Templar Knights. Now, Templars are men and women who do not possess any magical abilities, but ingest lyrium to allow them to have supernatural capabilities, even stopping mages from using magic by cutting off their source of the Fade. Now, Templar Knights are also supposed to be a peacekeeping force between the Chantry and the mages as well. They're all supposed to work in conjunction together, but it doesn't always work out that way. And if you guys want a whole video on the Circle of Magi and the Templar Order, I'll happily discuss it for you. Just let me know in the comment sections down below. Now, in the Circle of Magi, the Chantry uses something called phylacteries. And phylacteries basically have a small ounce of the mage's blood, which is basically a form of blood magic. Phylacteries are used if a mage runs away from the Circle of Magi. The Templar Knights can track this mage by their phylactery. As the phylactery begins to glow, it means it's closer to the mage who blood is inside the phylactery. So it is a form of blood magic that the Chantry uses to control mages. And in short, the Circle of Magi is basically a prison for mages, because it is stated within one of the Chantry books, basically this world's Bible, that magic is supposed to serve man, not control him, or not to be above him. And that was words from Andraste, this world's version of Jesus. Just so you guys can understand, for those of you who might be new to the Dragon Age world. Now, here's my theory. I personally believe that the Chantry knows that lyrium is blood from Titans. Because why else would they be able to use phylacteries to control and track mages? But then also, the Templar Knights, men and women who use lyrium, eventually begin to go insane and have a form of dementia or Alzheimer's from long-term uses of lyrium. And lyrium is also said to be extremely addictive. And there's a lot that goes into it. And to make this even more simple, here's Cole again mentioning how Templars, when they use magic, they're trying to connect with something. Take it away, Cole.
They feel older than they look. They've been changed and their bodies are incomplete now. The lyrium helps, but their bodies always want to connect to something older, bigger than they are. That's why they block magic. They reach for that other thing, and magic has no room to come in. Like when I listen to Varric.
Interesting, right? Now, if the Chantry is supposed to be this peace-loving place that loves the Maker, which is this world's version of God, why would they use something like phylacteries to control and police mages? Why would they even use it to control and police even Templar Knights? Now, my other part to this theory is that I believe that the dwarves also know that, well, again, the higher-ups, the king and queens of the dwarves, and the shapers of memories within the Dwarven Kingdom. And the shapers are basically, they document all of the history of the Dwarven people. Meaning that if they're the ones responsible for writing it, they're also able to erase things from history as well. And if you guys want a video on the Dwarven culture, the tags, caste system, and all that, I can do a video for that as well. But going back to my theory, I believe that the Dwarven Kingdom, as well as the Chantry, are very well aware that Lyrium is a form of blood magic. Now remember, as I said in the early part of this video, blood magic is extremely frowned upon. So, if they're aware that it's blood magic, and they're openly using it, and I mean everyone uses it, all mages and Templars use it, then if the mass population found out that Lyrium is a form of blood magic, I believe it would destroy the economy within Thedas, because the Dwarven Kingdom makes its money off of Lyrium mining. Now, I may not have mentioned that earlier, but that's why Lyrium is so important to the world. As I mentioned before, it's used in a multitude of things, not just magic. So imagine if the massive populace found out this truth about Lyrium. And then it begs the question when you look at Tevinter. Now, in Tevinter, they do have a chantry, and their divine in this chantry is a man, because in the main world of Thedas, or in the cities away from Tevinter, the divine are always women. So in this world, instead of a man being a holy priest, it is the women who are considered the highest and the holy priest, based on their Jesus figure, which is Andraste, just to simplify things. So now, going back to what I said earlier, in Tevinter, which is where all mages are openly using magic and all that other stuff, and even though in Tevinter blood magic is frowned upon, it is still used in quiet circles. You know, in the words of Dorian,
Bloodstains are so difficult to clean, you see.
So we're doomed to a future of blood magic then?
Not at first. But you'd be a fool not to see where this could lead.
as I like to say, you be the judge. So if they know that blood magic is frowned upon, and the rest of the world of Thedas knows that blood magic is frowned upon, and also the Chantry in Tevinter, or in Ferelden, and the Chantry of Tevinter bump heads because they have different ideologies on Andraste herself and the Maker. I think one of the biggest things is that Tevinter knows about the blood magic of Lyrium, that Lyrium is a form of blood magic, and they basically, they might have cut a deal. The Ferelden Chantry might have said, hey, don't tell anyone about this. We don't want anyone to know about Lyrium as a form of blood magic. And Tevinter is like, well, we'll keep it a secret. Again, it's just my theory here, but I think these chantries all know about the truth of Lyrium, as well as the Dwarven Kingdom, and no one's talking about it because they know it'll destroy their economy if everyone learned that they're using blood magic to create runes, armor, use Lyrium for mages and Templars, and so many other things in the world of Thedas. So that's my theory on it. Now, why am I bringing all of this up? Because at the end of the Dragon Age 4 behind the scenes trailer, we get to see a very short clip of a rock-looking creature with blue eyes. Now, those of you who know, Lyrium is blue, and again said the blood of Titans, and as I said earlier, Titans are creatures that are world shapers, mountain large creatures. So wouldn't that say, I mean, this little clip here, wouldn't that say that that is a Titan speaking to maybe our cast members? You know, again, this is just in-game engine stuff. It may not be something that may actually be fully realized in the final product, but I think they're going to really start touching on the Titans in this world. They're going to touch a little bit on Lyrium, and since the Dragon Age storyline is going further into Thedas, further into Venture within this universe, I think some of these things are going to be brought to light. Now, if you don't think that I'm right, let me know in the comment sections, or you think I might be onto something, because I think I'm onto something with this whole blood magic conspiracy. Let me know in the comment sections down below if you agree with my theory. So, with all that said, guys, I really want to know, what do you guys think? Again, do you agree? Do you disagree? Or do you feel that I've missed something that you think would either strengthen or weaken my theory? And with all that said, guys, if you enjoyed any of this content, do me a favor by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, leaving me a comment in the comment section down below, hit the notification bell so you're always notified when I'm uploading a video just for you, and remember the golden rule of washing your hands, wearing gloves, wearing masks, using social distance, using sanitizer, and remember, give love and respect to everyone because everyone deserves love and respect. Remember, all Black Lives Matter. Micah's going to see you on the flip side because we live, think, and dream big here. And bye. Still, no wink because I'm not winking at you. So, bye.